This video is going to be a film study preview of the Ravens-Steelers matchup on Wild Card Weekend. I think one of the most important elements of this matchup from a defensive standpoint for Baltimore is stopping or slowing down Pittsburgh's run game. Now, Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris do have, I think, 194 total rushing yards in the combined two games as the Ravens and Steelers split, each winning at home. But it's taken 48 carries for them to get that done. If the Ravens are able to continue slowing down the run game in that regard or in that manner, I think they're setting themselves up to win. This Steelers offense has some real tells from the run game, under center run game, that is. And I want to get into a little bit of what they do that is most effective, essentially split zone or wind back concepts. They don't seem to win as often on direct flow run concepts, particularly as well as Roquan Smith's played against them. Week 11, he played a whale of a football game. I think 13 tackles, 8 solos, incredible pursuit and force played against the pass. In fact, making a number of tackles on short passes. The Ravens defense really does a great job of taking away Russell Wilson's first read, and Roquan Smith is a part of that. I want to highlight his play in the two games against the Steelers and also talk about the quality the caliber of short yardage defense that the Ravens have played recently, which you got an illustration of in Saturday night's win against the Browns. Let's get to the film, and I'll have, I think, 14 plays queued up to go over between the two games against the Steelers. I'm going to separate these into run and pass plays first. As we talk about the run, I'm going to talk about direct flow and then split flow or wind back. Now, usually the Steelers operate in a one back scenario, so you can't really have split flow. What I mean when I say split flow would be running back going in one direction initially and the tight end H-back going in the opposite direction, what we would refer to as split zone. So this is the third quarter, week 11. It's going to be a loss of 1 out of 12 personnel for Jaylen Warren. Direct flow concepts have not been as successful against this Ravens defense by Pittsburgh in 2024, meaning the direction that the running back takes off in initially is the intended point of attack, and you will get the end zone angle. You'll see Roquan fits this perfectly. He does this multiple times in the two games against the Steelers. Same play from the end zone angle. Again, it's 12 personnel. The Steelers like to run 12 personnel. Here's the combos that you're going to get. I would call this ace. So one tight end on the right, one tight end on the left. Sometimes you'll get two tight ends on the same side. We'll talk about that formation in a moment. But the combo you're getting here between the left guard and left tackle is designed to work up to Roquan Smith. And then the combo you're getting here with the center right guard is designed to work up to the backside inside linebacker or the backside flow guy, which in this case is Marlon Humphrey. And you can see Roquan goes underneath of it. It's the motion that's the tell. It's the motion by one of the tight ends. So pre-snap, yes, there's a tight end on the right and a tight end on the left, but just before the snap, the motion is a huge indicator for where the run concept is going. So I'm going to call this full flow, meaning the running back is going in the direction of the point of attack immediately. Now, there's going to be another run play that I'll show in a little bit where you get the same exact motion by the tight end, so essentially creating the opportunity to double team an edge defender with both tight ends, but the quarterback reverse pivots and does a short toss to the running back, and that is designed to try to get guys stepping in the wrong direction. And it's so that the zone concept can seal or wall them off. Again, that's not the play concept that we have here. I'm trying to illustrate you the two different types of run concepts. I really call them wind back concepts that are designed to trick or get the inside linebackers or second level guys to take false steps. This is another illustration of what I would say is full flow. 2nd and 6, that week 11 game. The Steelers are up by 2 here. And there's the combo that's supposed to occur by the left guard and the left tackle to get up to Roquan Smith. Once again, he recognizes the motion as an indicator, goes underneath of the block, so basically defeats the scheme. You also get a great effort by Malik Harrison here, trying to at least make contact with Najee Harris and hold him to a short gain on the play. The Week 16 matchup, another full flow opportunity. Roquan thinks there's a false start here. Now, this actually has two tight ends to the same side. And a third tight end, Freiermuth, is just off screen here to you guys left. So this is a 2nd and 6, and in the third quarter, the Ravens are up 17-10 at this point. This is a matchup I think the Ravens should pursue. In rundowns, possibly with 12 personnel, get Michael Pierce matched up against their right guard. 3 times from what I've seen in that matchup, it's been an absolute mismatch. All of them haven't been that ugly from a Steelers standpoint, but this is a situation where, from a one-on-one standpoint, the Ravens are going to win this matchup. This is supposed to be split flow. So what I mean is you've got zone stepping offensive lineman, tight end going opposite, but Najee Harris's steps are a little bit exaggerated, and that's to get these guys flowing here, and then bring this possibly back underneath of this wall of blockers here. But you can see it's been absolutely destroyed by Pierce getting McCormick essentially flat on his back with a swim move, and then Najee Harris really has nowhere to go. He's either going to run into Pierce or bounce it. In this case, Marlon Humphrey's there, and then Roquan Smith to finish him off. They haven't been as successful on full flow run concepts. I'm not saying there were no examples of the Steelers gaining yards. Like I said, they've got between Harris and Warren, they've got 190 rushing yards in the 2 games, if I did my math right. But once again, it took 48 carries to get that done, so not even averaging 4 yards per carry. This is 2nd and 1. Actually, the Steelers go down and tie the game on this particular drive in the third quarter. This is a wind back concept. Now, the tight end in motion is still an indicator, but the flow is opposite of that. And so what they're trying to get accomplished is zone step everybody in this direction with the offensive line, and then have a kick out block by that tight end. The steps and the toss by the quarterback, I call it a short toss, makes it look like the ball's going in this direction, not that horizontal, obviously, but they're trying to get these guys to step and then get caught underneath of this wall. You can really get a nice view of it here. These guys creating a wall such that the running back can wind it back off the backside of those blocks, essentially functioning like down blocks. It's a designed cutback, which is why we would refer to it as a wind back concept, because that's the intention of the play, is to draw our second level defenders in one direction, in this case the right-hand side of our screen, and then allow the running back to slip underneath the kick-out block, almost like a reverse split zone concept. They're a huge split zone team, if you ask me. It's a safe run call, meaning you're not going to lose yards on those types of plays typically. If you defend it extremely well, you're talking about a 1 or a 2 yard gain. This is a little bit of an oversimplification, but split zone and duo are safe run concepts, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Steelers run them. They want to mitigate risk and, at worst, get into 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5. Steelers, like I said, end up tying the game there. I think the Ravens will match 12 personnel based on down and distance. So if we're in our base personnel, it'll be 1st and 10. If it's 2nd and 7, I think we'll oftentimes match with our nickel. We can defend the run out of our nickel look, whether it's Kyle Hamilton rolled up or Marlon Humphrey. It's been something that the Ravens have done all year long, trying to defend 12 personnel with their nickel at times. Now, the Steelers also use an interesting 11 personnel, 12 personnel hybrid, and that is one of their backup wide receivers, Brent Skoranek. He actually had 3 or 4 catches, I think, against the Ravens in the second game. Like, that really can't happen, but I think we would welcome the Steelers having to rely on throwing the ball to him. He's oftentimes used as a blocker out of 11 personnel. This is 11 personnel bunched to the boundary. Now, it's kind of difficult to agree with that. Here is the left hash, and there's the right hash. I think they had played a college game, and that's why the day before, and that's why you see these hashes here. But in any case, another full flow opportunity. In my opinion, these are the concepts that they're going to struggle with the most. But 11 personnel offers the Steelers an opportunity to run the football, because they will set 3 into the boundary, like you see here with the tight end, Skoranek, and another receiver. It forces us to either allocate the nickel, who spot shadowed Marlon Humphrey, into the boundary, or leave him to the field, which is where he, quote, should be. quick pitch, which is direct flow because the quarterback opens to it, so it's quite easy as a second-level defender to see that. Kyle Van Noy does a pretty good job holding up at the point of attack. Roquan and others get in there to help mitigate it to only a 1-yard gain. Going to talk about some pass stuff now. I think the Ravens do an excellent job in the 2 games against the Steelers of taking away Russell Wilson's first read. So Van Noy's going to do that here, number 1. Number 2, look, the game is really, for all intents and purposes, pretty much over here. It's 31-17 in the fourth quarter. But Van Noy is going to drop out to the boundary. Roquan is going to drop out to the field and cover. He's done a great job in coverage, particularly against the Steelers. Some guys play really well against certain teams because of the reads or because of the type of offenses that they're facing. It looks to me like Roquan is really comfortable against this offense when they're under center, stopping the run game, being focused on getting downhill, stopping the run game, number 1. And number 2, when they're in the shotgun like Russell Wilson is here, Roquan does a fantastic job of getting in the window, oftentimes taking away Russell Wilson's first read. That one happens to be a nice conversion, but I still think it's an example of us taking away the first read by Russell Wilson, forcing him to come back to something else, which we would like to do as much as possible. Another pass play, this is a snag flat concept in Week 11. So George Pickens is going to run the snag. It's not necessarily a perfect illustration of a snag here. And then Skowronek, the wide receiver / tight end hybrid, whatever you want to call him, is running into the flats. Roquan's expanding to it. And we just have done a really nice job of limiting their ability to get yards after the catch with quick tackles. When Wilson is willing to get rid of the ball quick, it's got to be where he looks first. And the Ravens, I think, especially Roquan, Trenton Simpson's not playing as much lately, so our other guys in coverage, Harrison and Board, are going to be tested, I'm sure. And in fact, they beat Harrison on a wheel to Cordarrelle Patterson for a touchdown in Week 11, or Week 16, excuse me. This is Week 11 again. Roquan is up to the top side of the screen. And one of the coolest coverages that I've seen us use in the last 2 or 3 years, whereby one inside linebacker blitzes, in this case to the boundary, and then the other inside linebacker replaces. So Simpson is the blitzer, and the Steelers actually catch him, meaning they know that he's going to blitz here. And then Roquan takes over that drop. That puts him in position to go help out on this short pass to Jaylen Warren once Ardarius Washington misses the tackle. Now, Ardarius Washington is a missile. We're getting spectacular play from him against the run, against the pass. Very decisive, abrupt. And again, anything that happens quick, meaning it's the first read, wherever Russell Wilson looks and he throws, our guys react to it quickly. Ardarius Washington is a part of that. Like I said, he's a missile, and he's definitely had an impact since he's been inserted into the starting lineup. This is actually 13 personnel, a jumbo version of it, because I think you've got an eligible offensive lineman up here. Third quarter in Week 11, the Steelers are ahead by 2. It's a 1st and 10. You get a ton of these checkdowns from Russell Wilson to the running backs. If he doesn't see what he likes first, which is, again, what we've got to take away, his initial read, Roquan and whoever's playing inside linebacker have got to do a great job of coming downhill, tackling the running backs, especially Warren, but Najee Harris as well, and then limiting their yards after the catch like you see here. This is a play that I talked about in a couple of other film study videos. Roquan is right here. And before anybody talks about reading the quarterback, I'll give you both angle views. So try to watch Russell Wilson's helmet the first couple of times and tell me if he looks up here to Roquan's side, which is where George Pickens is lined up. And then you'll get the end zone angle, so you'll be able to confirm it. Now, it's a win for Oweh against their right tackle. I personally think that their right tackle and left tackle have issues in pass pro, and I believe that's one of the reasons why they're so risk-averse, why they are so focused on running the ball, because they understand they've got to limit those guys' exposure to known passing situations. I understand there'll probably be some disagreement by people with that there, but in any case, watch Roquan's helmet as he works through this play. I'll try to slow motion this forward and backwards, and hopefully it's not too choppy for you guys to be able to see it. He's seeing Freiermuth cross his face, and then his helmet gets out to 2. He's what's called reading 3 to 2, inside out. Gets in the window of Pickens' underneath route, which is exactly where Wilson is looking. Enough time such that Owe is able to get there, finish off the sack, and I believe hold them to a field goal. Same play from the end zone angle. You don't have Freiermuth off screen to your left, but you will see Roquan's helmet. Additional to that, look at Wilson looking to our right first briefly, and then coming back over here. So it's not that Roquan's just flying out of here with Russell Wilson's helmet. He's actually pattern reading 3 to 2, meaning reading Freiermuth to the inside receiver, which is Pickens, and then just getting in that window. The type of smart, really high-level awareness pass drops that we need in order to take away Russell Wilson's first read and give our pass rush guys an opportunity to get there. Let's take a look at some short yardage defense that the Ravens displayed, particularly Roquan and Travis Jones against the Cleveland Browns in our win in Week 18. This is a 3rd and 3. I believe it's on the Browns' first possession. Of course, they threw a pick 6 on the second possession. It's 11 personnel. Trips closed, so the running back and the tight end are on the same side. And this is a really unique stunt that we run here against this. Roquan goes all the way around here. And I believe that it's because we've got Board lined up to the tight end side. So there's not this big-ass gap between our 3 technique and the edge defender, Van Noy. We've essentially walked Board up as another defensive lineman. He's not really a defensive lineman, obviously. And when you get the end zone angle, you'll maybe get more of an appreciation of it. Roquan basically goes all the way around the back side of this. And check out what the Ravens do. You can see Roquan is telling Chris Board to line up right there. I think all they're trying to do is free up Roquan. Additional to that, they're going to slant Jones and Matabike to try to cause disruption. So those guys are slanting opposite of Roquan's blitz. It's a run blitz, if you ask me. So Matabike and Jones are slanting to our left. And then Roquan loops around. Travis Jones wins on the front side. He bear hugs the running back, and then Roquan comes in from the side, gets a great stop on their first possession. Second possession, we know how that ended. Pick 6 for Nate Wiggins. I talked about that and displayed it in a film study video on Tuesday. Feel free to check that out if you haven't done so already. Here is their third possession. It's a 2nd and 1 after a successful run concept on split zone, by the way. I think we've been really good in short yardage moments in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. Not to say that we didn't have good examples of short yardage defense earlier in the season, but it seems like we've had a lot more of these here lately. So 2nd and 1, 13 personnel. And we're running Harrison up field for the boot. Ardarius is also triggered downhill. It's a unique concept, one that we, in fact, use. The tight end is running out into the flats. So Ardarius is being put in severe conflict here. Does he respect that, too, and then possibly open up a run lane if the running back cuts it back? In this case, Ardarius just has great eyes. Maybe he sees the ball handed off, folds in there late. He doesn't necessarily make first contact, but he's in at the bottom of the pile like often. We get Bored on here late. And so it's a split zone element with this tight end or H-back and the other tight end, the one to our left, the right-hand side of the Browns offense. He's arc releasing, very similar to what we use out of the option. The only difference is here the quarterback is under center. Travis Jones actually is going to make the tackle here. If you leave Jones one-on-one, he's going to get to the play side. I don't mean he's going to make the play every time. But if the play goes to our right, he's going to be able to win with his head and his upper body to the right-hand side of the blocker dealing with him. If the play goes to the left, he's going to be able to win there. Watch his head. He's just trying to peek and win to wherever the running back goes. Ends up on the, quote, wrong side for a moment. Sheds the offensive lineman, makes the play. Brent Urban is in there at the bottom as well. Roquan not necessarily involved in that. That was a 2nd and 1. I think Travis Jones is a big part of this game plan against the Steelers. Him and Pierce on the field at the same time against 12 personnel is something that I'm looking to see. I mistakenly thought this was jumbo. This is actually not. It's just an unbalanced offensive line for the Browns. On the very next snap, in fact, 3rd and 1. So when I say unbalanced, what I mean is you've got a guard, a tackle, and then backside here you've got one guard and then 2 tight ends out of what I would say is just regular old 12 personnel, but it's not a regular old 12 personnel formation. Roquan, he's just been exceptional on short yardage fits recently. He's clean, don't get me wrong, meaning there's nobody to get to him, but he's just fitting things in a spectacular manner. Matabike, Pierce, Jones, all of those guys have had their moments in these short yardage situations. We really seem to trust Brent Urban in these moments, and you can see he's on the field on these last 2 snaps. Roquan ends up being free here. Matabike kind of dislodges the tackle from this 4-eye. Tavius Robinson is also standing up the other tackle. Matabike, and then Roquan's going to fit between there. Board is also free. We're just in a really good look against this unbalanced offensive line. I'm kind of wondering if the Steelers are going to go to some jet sweep stuff to the outside on third and short to try to, instead of attacking a walled city, so to say, because we've stopped downhill run concepts in short yardage moments. I almost wonder if they're going to go to some outside sweep stuff or toss to try to beat us to the outside, soften us up early. This is a really unique formation on the very next play. This will be the last one that I show, in fact. It's still short yardage, 4th and 1 after the failed 3rd down run. So you've got 4 eligible to one side. So you got 2 eligible tight ends there, and then an eligible running back, and then they've put more in the backfield. I would say this is just 12 personnel. It ends up being play action with a reverse pivot, and they're trying to leak one of the tight ends out. It's a great play by Marlon Humphrey. They're trying to leak this tight end out here to the backside, and then Judy over the middle. Great timing by Marlon on the challenge. Not nearly as much on the ball by Bailey Zappi as we're going to see, regardless of who we face on Saturday, Russell Wilson and or Justin Fields. End zone angle, same play, so you can see it. You got an eligible offensive lineman here with the tight end, so that's your 12 personnel. 3 offensive linemen to the left, so that's an unbalanced set. And then off screen to our right is where Jerry Jeudy and Marlon Humphrey are lined up. To play action with Moore slipping out into the flats. There's the leaking tight end. And then you can see the challenge nature of Marlon just selling out. Reminds me a whole lot of a 3rd down pass defense he had against Khalil Shakir and the Buffalo Bills in that Week 4 win at home, where the ball is kind of there out in front, but he's able to just get enough of a piece of it such that the receiver can't make the catch. Jeudy was not very efficient from a total targets and catches standpoint. I think the Ravens have got to play great short yardage defense to beat the Steelers, and good to very good run defense to control or limit their offensive play call sheet. Essentially meaning when they're under center and it's 12 personnel or under center 11 personnel and Skowronek is on the field, we've got to be in the stop the run mentality first, in my opinion. And if that opens us up to the pass some early on, so be it. The Steelers so far from a running back standpoint in the 2 games against the Ravens, again, unless I did my math wrong, I've got 48 carries for like 193 yards, 194 yards, something like that. So certainly right around or just below 4 yards per carry, and I think that's the key number for the Ravens. If we can hold their running backs to 3.4 or 3.5 yards per carry, we've got a great shot to win the game. If they're able to push that number from an average standpoint up to 4.4, 4.3 maybe even, that puts the Steelers in a whole bunch of 2nd and 6s and 3rd and 2s and leaves the playbook wide open for Arthur Smith. In any case, you guys let me know what you think of the film study talking about Roquan Smith's play, the quality of his play against the run and the pass against the Steelers in 2 games this year, number 1. And number 2, how well we've been performing in short yardage situations recently and how important I think that can be against a Steelers team that likes to impose their will on defenses and try to grind them out over the course of a 60-minute game. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Roquan Smith's play against the Steelers in 2024, with an eye towards the rematch on Saturday afternoon, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.